Okay, I'm in a incredibly talkative mood today, I guess. I want to talk about eBay. Made a little bit of a foray into eBay just recently. Put a bunch of bids down. A lot of them got surpassed, especially by snipers at the end. And I'm beginning to realize just how it works. You're not going to get a deal on eBay unless you're a sniper. And even then, you probably won't. And here's why. Because the people on eBay who are sniping, to a large extent, I think are dealers. Shock. Seriously. So here's the thing. I don't think there's any huge advantage for the seller, by the way, here. But for the buyer, I think there's a huge disadvantage unless you're in this as your business. Unless this is part of your way of making an income. Or you're doing it in such bulk that it's worth your time to make sure you hit, the end of auctions specifically. So why does it work that way? Because, they tried to institute policies like, oh yeah, just put your max bid in. And that's true. If I want to buy something and I really want it, and I know exactly how much I'm going to pay for it, and I can break that dealer threshold, I win. The problem is that dealer threshold, I think, is driving away honest buyers, people who really just want to own it, as opposed to who are trying to make a buck off. So that drives the price down a little bit, I think. Which is why I'm thinking it's not really that huge an advantage for a seller to go there. You're not getting what's necessarily the best market price, because the buyers who are discouraged because they can't get a deal on eBay may wander away and leave it completely to the dealers, who will then slowly lower their prices. That's my thing. Chances are, whatever I'm trying to buy, I'm never going to get that magical deal. I'm too cheap. I've got a couple of bids in that, I know they're not going to hold up. But, on the other hand, I've made bids on Board Game Geek that have held up. And I'm not sure that the seller is necessary. This is what I don't get. Is the seller just advantaged to put it on eBay? You're guaranteed some minimum price. If you've got a hot ticket item, I think you want it on eBay, because who knows whether or not it'll even get noticed on the geek, right? An auction may just not receive the publicity, and that's kind of the disadvantage there for the seller on that. Of course, I see sellers over on eBay saying, I just want to, help the hobby along. Well, I'm not sure whether you are or not if it's ending up in a dealer's hands. Again, the dealers aren't buying it without the intention to sell it, so it's going to end up in somebody's hands anyway. So I don't know if that's that terrible. But I know for me, it's very, very frustrating. I'm not willing to say, okay, I know the only way I'm going to get the deal that I want is to jump in and put a bid in right at that last minute. It doesn't even really make sense to me why that should particularly work. I understand that the dealers don't want to drive the price up early, because then they're out of the ballpark. And I guess sort of everybody's in that same sort of game. If you want to get it cheap, you have to play the game. But here's the thing. The advantage goes to the person who wants a lot of stuff. And, particularly if they're turning it around to sell it and make a business out of this, they probably do want to move a volume. So I guess that's why it's a little different and perhaps feels a little unfair to me. I think that the prices actually end up about the same, at least for moderate valued and lower valued items. I'm not seeing a lot of stuff that looks like it's going for, you know, ridiculously low prices or ridiculously high prices compared to what it would go for on the Geek, except for those big ticket items. Those big ticket items, I think they're just out of the ballpark. You don't want to put them on Board Game Geek because they're just, you might not make the same, and you're talking orders of magnitude difference here, you know. I mean, you might end up selling something really valuable for 10 to 20 bucks as opposed to for cost, for you know, anywhere near its value. I think who it really advantages, though, other than the dealers who are buying and selling on it, is the sort of the non-hobbyist putting stuff up. They have no idea what to charge. You know, I see items that are going up there. You know, my dad's gaming collection. It's got to be worth something, right? And you know, there'll just be tons of stuff in there, and it's obviously worth a lot. And it ends up going for probably a lot more than the person posting things. Anyway, I think for me at least, I'm going to stay away from it. I was hoping that not just that I would be able to get cheaper games there, sort of. That was definitely a hope. And I think that the prices actually land about the same, like I've said. But I was also hoping that I would get some of that. I loved going to tag sales, and not just for the bargain, but for the hunt. And I love looking at the Board Game Geek auctions for the same reason. Oh, I want that, and I'm willing to go to this. Oh shit, you know. And same factor here, except here I feel like I can put my biggest bid down and boom, it just gets blown away eventually. But I think I'm winning for a long time, and I don't like that feeling. I don't like, oh yeah, I got this for, you know, a week, and it seems like I'm fine until the last 3 hours, and then I come in the next day and boom, I lost it. You know what? But that's you know, I mean, that's a matter of I'm just not willing to schedule my life around getting games that way. I'd rather spend a few extra bucks in a different manner to get them. All right.